Hello everyone, you're welcome to IDC Learning Center YouTube channel. We'll be talking about Waec Economics Paper 2, Theory. We'll be looking at calculations for today's video. A lot of students shy away from calculations, but then you can't run away from it. Stay with me as I help you understand how to solve calculations problems in economics, especially theory. Let's look at the first question here, question 1. The table below shows the composition of exports and imports of hypothetical country. Use the information in the table to answer the questions that follow. You can see the table here. Okay? We have the table, you can go through all the information there. Now the questions we need to answer. A is calculate the value of visible exports. B, calculate the balance of trade for the country. C, list the items of invisible exports and imports. Calculate the current account balance of the country. E, is a country developed or developing? Give one reason for your answer. Now, I want you to understand, let's take the A, that the visible export here, for A, the visible export are crude oil, granules, and bauxite. They are the visible exports. So the value of the visible export for A will be the sum of the three. Crude oil is 120 million. I'll write it down. 120 million. Plus granules is 40 million. And the bauxite is 80 million. Now if you punch this into the calculator, sum this up, okay, it will give you about 240 million. Okay. Now, this 240 million is simply the value of the visible export. That's the answer for A. Now, let's look at B. B says, calculate the balance of trade for the country. I want you to know that balance of trade is total value of visible, let me write it here. Okay, balance of trade. Balance of trade equal to total value of visible exports. I'm just trying to abbreviate this. Remember, we are solving for B. Okay, we are solving for B here. Balance of trade is the total value of visible exports minus total value of visible imports. Total value of visible imports. Please take note of this formula. Again, I said balance of trade is the total value of visible exports minus total value of visible imports. Visible exports, I've already solved for that. That's about 240. That is $240 million. What about the visible import? The visible import are rice and flour, sum of rice and flour, petroleum products, vehicles, and accessories. Three of them make up the visible import. Now, if you sum the values of for three of them, that's 140 million plus 80 million plus 40 million is going to give you the visible imports, which is 270 million. So the visible exports, you can see that at the right hand side here, I summed three of them and I got 240 million. Take note of this, minus the visible imports, which is rice and flour, 140 million, plus petroleum products, 80 million, plus vehicles and accessories, which is 50 million. If you sum three of them up, it's going to give you 270 million dollars. Okay, there we have 270 million. Okay, now if you punch this into the calculator, you are going to get a negative answer. Okay, because 270 is definitely bigger than 240, so your answer will be minus 30,000 minus 30 million. Okay, now what I have is the balance of trade for the country. Please don't forget the formula. I said balance of trade is the total visible exports minus total visible imports. Alright, just take note of A and B. We are done with that. I'm going to wipe the board and then we look at C. If you have any problem or if there's any parts you don't understand properly, you can simply rewind this video and look at it again. Like this is very important you learn how to solve problems like this for the sake of your Waec or your SSCE. Okay, so I'm going to wipe this off the board so I can take C. Okay, I'm almost done with this. Okay, now let's look at question C. List the items of invisible exports and imports. Invisible exports include tourism and shipping, or tourism, shipping and insurance. Okay, that's the invisible exports. Let me write it here. C. Invisible exports includes, again I said, tourism. They are invisible. Tourism, shipping, and insurance. Okay, why the invisible imports? Invisible imports include, can you guess? Banking services and freight and insurance. Okay, so we have the banking services, the freight, and insurance. Okay, that's all for C. C says list the items of invisible exports and imports. So we have them. Invisible exports, we have the tourism, shipping and insurance. Invisible imports, we have the banking services, freight and insurance. Take note of this. I'm going to still wipe the board. Let's look at D. Now, calculate the current account balance of the country. How do you calculate the current account balance of the country? Okay. Let me use an icon to indicate where we are. How do you calculate the current account balance? Current account balance is value of total export minus value of total import. Let me write it here. Again, current account balance is value of total exports minus value of total imports. Take note of this formula. Again, the current account balance, the formula to get that is value of total exports minus value of total imports. What is the value of total exports? We did that earlier. Okay? The total exports, if you sum everything up here, the value of the total exports, okay, will give us is about 345 million. That's the total exports minus the total imports. Okay, yeah. Everything is 140 plus 60, 200, 290. Okay, so everything will be about 370 million. If you subtract, you are going to get minus 25 million. Okay, this 25 million, remember I got it by summing the value of total export at the left minus the value of total import at the right. It gave me minus $25 million. That is the current account balance. From what we've done so far, it becomes very easy for us to tell if the country is developed or developing. But the instruction says, give one reason for your answer. Now, if I ask you to give a reason to say if this country is developed or developing, what would you say? Well, the right answer, the country is a developing one. This is because 1, its exports are made up mainly of unprocessed primary products. You can see that at the export end. They are made up mainly of unprocessed primary products. 2, its imports are made up mainly of finished goods. So the country actually relies on finished goods. 3, the value of imports exceeds exports. You can see that's why we kept having negative values. That's to show that the value of import exceeds export. So with these 3 points, we can say yes, the country is a developing one and not a developed one. Let's go to the next question. Question 2. The diagram below represents the equilibrium position of a firm in a perfectly competitive industry. Study it and answer the questions that follow. In this question, you have to determine the level of output and price at which the firm is in equilibrium, the firm's profit, and the relationship between marginal cost, MC, and average total cost, ATC. The first question says, At what level of output and price is a firm in equilibrium? That's AI. We can say that it is at the level where the output is 50 kg, equilibrium output is 50 kg, and equilibrium price is 20 kg. Yeah, that's the level where the firm is in equilibrium. That's for I. Now, AII. Okay, AII. Calculate the firm's profit in equilibrium. Firm's profit equal to total revenue curve minus total cost. Okay. The TR, total revenue, equal to 50 kg times the price, which is $20. TR will give me $1,000. YTC equal to, that's the total cost, 50 kg times $12. That's the total cost curve. This will give me $600. The profit, therefore, will be $1,000 minus $600. This will give me $400. Okay, this is the answer for AII. I hope this is clear. Can always take this back a bit, look through the graph and just connect it with everything I've done here. Now let's look at the third one, AIII. Okay, almost done with this. The question says AII, what type of profit is it? Explain your answer. Well, I'm going to say is an abnormal, economic, or supernormal profit. This is because the profit is earned at a point where price, AR, that's the average revenue, is greater than the average cost. That's the answer for that. B. Why is the average revenue AR function horizontal? The average revenue function is horizontal because in perfect competition, average revenue, which is also the price, is constant and fixed. Please take note of that. Okay? Again, the average revenue function is horizontal because in perfect competition, average revenue, which is also the price, is constant and fixed. Now, the C part here. State any two ways in which marginal cost, MC, and average total cost, ATC, are related. The first one here. When marginal cost is less than average total cost, that's ATC, average total cost is falling. Can see a relationship? CII, like 2. When marginal cost is equal to average total cost is at its minimum. That's what it means. That's also a relationship. III, When marginal cost is greater than average total cost, it means that average total cost is rising. Take note of all that. Okay, that is all for question 2. Question 3. The table below shows an extract from balance of payments for country A. Use the table to answer the questions that follow. Balance of payment items are. Now you can see the items of transaction, the receipt and payment. So the A party is calculate balance of trade. For similar question, please, balance of trade is what you need to do. Equal to export of goods minus imports of goods. Okay, so to get the balance of trade, the export of goods, we have 52,000 minus the import, which is about 40,000. This will give us $12,000. That's all. Take note of this. Okay. B says balance on current account, 8 marks. Okay, so you can just go through this. Let's look at B. B. Let's look at the credit items. The credit items are 52,000, 4,000, 20,000, 2,500, 22,800. These are the credit items. If you sum them up, it's going to give you 101,300. No kobo. Now let's look at the debit items. Okay, so the debit items will give you again at this side. Yeah, it will give you 40,000, 8,000, 5,000, 7,500, 7,000. In total, the debit items will be 67,500. So the balance on current account equals to credit items 101,300 minus debit items 67,500. Okay, this will give me 33,800. Okay, no kobo. That's the answer. Take note of this. Like I said, you can always go back, rewind the video a bit, and ensure you understand everything. Okay, let's look at C. Balance on capital accounts. To do this, let's go back to credit items. Okay, the credit items here, we have $50,000 That's this. Plus 254,000 plus 221,000. Okay, if you sum this up, it's going to give you 525,000. Now the debit balance equal to 26, that's this, $26,000 plus, punch it into the calculator, $289,000 plus the last one, $238,000. If you sum three of them up, it's going to give you in dollars 553,000. So the balance on capital account will be credit items 525,000 minus 553,000. Take note of this. Okay, so if you punch this into the calculator, it's going to give you minus $28,000. Take note of that. So that's how to calculate balance on capital account. Finally, let's look at balance of payment. Balance of payment. Okay, let's look at balance of payment. Balance of payment, which is the D. To solve this is 3 marks. Balance of payment equal to balance on current account plus balance on capital account. Let me write it. Balance on current account plus balance on capital account. Okay, now this will give you balance of payment. So balance of payment equal to the balance on current account is $33,800 plus the balance on capital account is actually minus 28,000. Remember what we got that when we calculated this. Plus and minus is minus, so this will give me 33,800. This plus and times the negative in the capital account will give me negative 28,000. So the answer, final answer will be $5,800. Okay, I hope you appreciate this video. The idea is just to get you familiar with the part 2, like theory of economics, what to expect in your SSCE. Questions like these are very, very important because you definitely see them In fact, the first 1 or 2 questions you see in part 2 economics, it will definitely look like this. And what I've done is what you are supposed to do if you come across similar questions like this. I wish you the very best in your exam. Please subscribe to this channel if you've not done so, and be rest assured that I will be bringing other subjects your way. Feel free to make a request, drop nice comment, and please share this video as well. Thanks and bye.